Hey, what's going on today, folks? Johnny P here again. Hey, I just wanted to get on here today and just kind of go over almost like a refresher as to like my journey with all this stuff as far as losing 160 pounds, in roughly a year or so, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more. Again, I've been on this journey for about, I don't know, about three and a half years. I've gotten down to the weight that I want to be at, which is around 220, 225. I've maintained that. It took me about right at a year to get down that much, and I've just been maintaining it ever since. I do it with carnivore, and of course intermittent fasting. That has just really helped me out. But yeah, so basically just kind of just a refresher as to my journey and all of that. So I started out when I really got serious about it. Probably around, let's say, 385 to 395. Honestly, guys, I quit using the scale after so long, after being, stuck right around that weight. And honestly, I just didn't want to see the scale anymore. It was just, it was just disheartening, really. But yeah, so like, so right around that weight, pushing 400, which is just wild to even think about. I've been decently fit, my entire life, leading up to when I just kind of let myself go, quit moving, quit even thinking about what I was eating, just kind of ate everything in sight, drank sodas, all sorts of stuff, just everything that you could possibly think of that, that would, contribute to me getting close to 400 pounds. I did. It was just, wasn't a good thing. There was, I wasn't like, sad or depressed or anything like that. It's just I just kind of enjoyed eating and kind of just let myself go. And again, that's one of those things that I would definitely want to stress. It's like it's a slippery slope, guys. Whenever you kind of stop caring about what you're eating and all of that, it's super quick. I mean, you can slide down that slope and just keep going, kind of like a snowball effect, until you look up and you're almost 400 pounds. That's exactly what happened to me. So if anything, this is kind of like a warning to people who may not be as far gone as I was, or even further. This diet, this lifestyle, this can be for literally anyone. So that's kind of what I wanted to touch on today. Started out at 300. We'll call it 390, right there in the middle. So 390, knocking on the door of 400. So one day I just had enough, guys. I was just done with kind of feeling that way and like being lethargic, joints hurting, anything you can name. I mean, I just felt terrible sleep. I felt like I couldn't breathe at night, horrible snoring, just not getting that rest that my body needed. So I started out with, I was like, okay, so today I'm gonna get rid of all of those things, all the sugars, the carbs, anything that wasn't going to benefit me, as far as like possibly losing weight. I was ready to try anything and everything, and this is the one that stuck. Like my whole thing is unfortunately it's like all or nothing. I've just learned that about myself. Like it's like if I can't have cheat meals or anything like that, as far as like going all the way, like candy bars, chips, all of that stuff. It's just something that doesn't agree with me now, especially since my body's kind of used to this way of living. I feel like it just won't agree with me. And then of course, I don't want to slip back into that. This for me had to be a complete 180 overhaul, just needing to completely change up what I was doing, because what I was doing obviously wasn't working. So yeah, I started changing my diet completely, started going strictly with steaks, to start out with. And then I finally went to, steak and eggs, started incorporating chicken, and I did that, I think I hit on my last video, but, I started hitting, or, I started dropping weight dramatically. Again, a lot of that is just water retention, but you could tell I carried like a lot of weight in my face. Like I look like a completely different person, just like in my face. So that was a huge thing that like I could see. And I'm sure if you guys have tried any kind of dieting or anything like that, you can tell, like, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You can't tell just because the the process is so slow. And then, whenever someone, gives you a compliment, it's like, oh my gosh, have you lost weight? And you're just like, absolutely, like I'm seeing it on the scale. And again, the scale for me is just data points. I don't really care about the number on the scale. It's just how do I feel, and how am I moving for that day, for that week, for that month, for that year. This, I'm not afraid of the scale. It's just the scale is just another data point to see if I'm trending in the right direction as to where I want to be. But yeah, so I would carry a lot of weight in my face. Obviously, like you could see it, in my arms and all of my legs, especially carrying a lot of water weight. So, I mean, it was such a dramatic shift the first 3 months, like I think 40 pounds the first 3 months, an additional 40 the next. And the only thing I did for the first 6 months, I wasn't working out. I wasn't running. I wasn't doing anything. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even tracking my steps. As far as like 10,000 steps, I'm not sure if that's something that you guys adhere to, if that's part of your protocol. But yeah, now I try to be, adamant about getting those steps, being purposeful when I'm moving, making sure that I'm moving enough throughout the day. And then, of course, that's on top of, my running and all of that stuff, working out daily and, lifting weights, I should say, daily. So that's part of my protocol. But, back then it was just strictly diet, and that's all I did, which, I mean, it definitely worked out, especially, if you're going to try to, incorporate some workouts and some running, some cardio, some low impact cardio. Any of that stuff, if you're losing the weight initially just based on your diet, it's going to be so much better on your joints, so much better on your confidence, as far as being able to move for longer, being able to move those weights a little bit easier, just because you're not carrying all that mass with you, as you're moving. So yeah, so I started out, strictly with the diet, adhering to it down to like the pound, like I wanted to see how much I was eating. I did start with, I believe from 12 to 8 was like my feeding window. And if you guys have done intermittent fasting, you know that, like you have a feeding window, and then after that you don't eat. So mine was 12 to 8. And then I shut it down from like 12 to 6. And then I moved it from 2 to 6. And then I just started doing 1 meal a day. And I was just incorporating at first, really I don't know if I was doing it right, but I was doing it, what worked for me. So I was doing a meal, snack, meal, and maybe another snack when I first started out. And then I just shut that, started closing that window down, took out the snacks initially, and then dropped it down to that 1 meal. And again, 6 months into it, about 80 pounds down, with no working out. It was absolutely insane. It felt like a cheat code. But yeah, it's really not. I mean, it's, you're getting rid of, or well, at least me, I was getting rid of a ton of bloat, a ton of water weight, and just, just all that stuff just kind of leaving my body. So yeah, so I started out doing that. And then after, around 6 months, obviously this isn't like exact dates or anything like that, just based on, how I remember it. The next 6 months incorporated distance running, Stairmaster, and working out, I believe at that time, 4 to 5 times a week. And, just kind of building muscle and trying to, like at least what I thought, because I was getting enough protein, enough fats, the fats to stay satiated and the protein to build muscle. So, I mean, I felt like I was building muscle. I felt like I was getting stronger, especially in the gym. If you go enough to the gym and your body as far as like where you started versus where you're going, or, where you're at then, and then of course where you're going, like you can tell and you can see a trend as far as you getting stronger. So that was something I was chasing too. I wanted to, really get in the gym and be, be as strong as I was, and wanted to move that weight. It's just something I've always been passionate about. And of course I got a brand new, outlook as far as running goes. On the last video I was doing, saying that, now I'm training for like half marathons. And I run, at least a 5K a day, which is 3 miles and some change. I think it's 3.12 miles. And then, a 10K once a week. So yeah, with all of that, guys, and, adhering to the diet, the biggest one is that first drop. That first steady drop whenever you see it, and it's solely on diet. And, I know everybody's body is different, so I totally understand that, but I feel like that there is just something about dramatically shifting your diet. And again, if it's not something that you can do or stick to, this is just something that I felt so far gone. I was just like, oh, I have to do this. Like, this is like flipping the switch. And I was like, I'm going all the way in. I'm not, dipping my toes in. I'm diving all the way in. And that's what I needed for me. So I'm not sure if you guys are at that point yet, or if you would ever get to that point. But if it's something that you want to kind of ease into, as long as you're trying to do and trying to head in that right direction, as far as for your overall health, that's exactly. That's every mile starts with a step. So, and keep sticking to it, guys. If y'all have any questions about what I've done, how I'm doing it, what I'm maintaining, I'm still going to try to kick out a bunch of content to you guys about where I'm at, some possible training stuff, as far as for running, some weight training, what I'm eating for the day, like intermittent fasting, how I cope with that, or how I deal with that. Especially whenever you're only eating once a day, you want to make sure that you're getting enough of what you need, to get you through the day. And I think that was the biggest thing too, is I needed to make sure I was getting enough, fuel in my tank, to be able to, go to work, run, work out, all that stuff. And, it's crazy because now, I'm still eating obviously carnivore, but I have those eggs with every meal. So I'm eating 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of beef or meat or chicken or anything like that, just roughly around 1.5 to 2 pounds. And then however many eggs I feel like for that day, could be 6, could be 10. But yeah, so I'm getting a ton of calories within that first, or that only window that I have, that eating window that I have. And again, it's probably about 30 minutes to an hour from start to finish, and that includes like cooking the food and all of that stuff. And that I may show you guys exactly how I prep my food. I don't do any food prepping or meal preps or anything like that. I usually cook every single night. It's just something that like I enjoy cooking, so I don't want to front load the same meal, because I like to switch it up. Maybe I want all chicken, or I want chicken and steak, chicken and beef, maybe just eggs and chicken, like just a bunch of different things. But yeah, I want to invite you guys in to kind of see how I did it, how I'm maintaining it, and what that's going to look like for me in the future, if I'm going to stick to my working out 7 days a week. Am I gonna dial it back, ramp it up? Maybe whenever my next marathon's coming up, how that's gonna look. But yeah, guys, I am so about the carnivore diet, just because I feel like it saved my mental health and my physical health. I just was, whenever you weigh that much, and it just hurts to get up in the morning because you're already tired because you didn't sleep well. You're heavy, so it's just a ton of extra weight, moving it around. You don't look good, you don't feel good. It takes a toll, it really does. So I'm the biggest advocate for the carnivore diet, the biggest advocate for working out, getting your steps in, like whatever that passion of yours, as far as like if you want to get in the gym, if you like, I know pickleball's a big deal right now, so like if that's your thing, do that. Just get your body moving while you're heading in the right direction with your diet. Again, you cannot outwork a bad diet. So you can run, jog, walk as much as you want. If your diet is not dialed in, your lifestyle of eating is not dialed in, you're not going to get very far. That's just the hard facts of it. You can definitely out eat a phenomenal workout routine, and you can ruin it as far as that goes. But yeah, again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below. If you I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I'll get to you guys in the next video. Have a good one, guys.